Welcome back to my G1 Retro Reviews. Today, we're taking a look at the original Transformers Series 2-parter, Megatron's Master Plan. In this episode, Megatron uses propaganda and fake news in order to trick the humans into believing that the Decepticons are actually good and the Autobots are truly evil. This episode begins with the new mayor of Central City addressing his constituents. Wait a minute. Central City? Is the Flash here? So, this new solar energy facility is soon attacked by Starscream and the Coneheads. But this solar facility turns out to be a trap by Mr. Sean Burger.
Burger's taken the law into his own hands again!
Why does this sound vaguely familiar? So, the Autobots repel the Decepticons, and the mayor decides that he wants to honor the Autobots for saving them. Meanwhile, Burger finds a cassette on his desk, who we should recognize as Laserbeak. He transforms and brings Mr. Burger to the Decepticons. You know, this kind of reminds me of Laserbeak in Dark of the Moon. Once he arrives, Megatron tells Burger how he's been brainwashed by Autobot propaganda. Okay, now this is really starting to sound like something else.
It pains me to see a man of your obvious brilliance deceived by Autobot propaganda. You see, you are so brainwashed by it that you don't even suspect that they are evil and we are good. Oh, the power of public relations.
Do you expect me to believe this?
I mean, you'd have to be a real idiot to believe someone who calls themselves a Decepticon.
They literally call themselves Decepticons. That doesn't set off any red flags?
So, Megatron sets up a little show for Burger's benefit, where the Autobots are caught stealing oil, and the Decepticons heroically stop them. This is almost like a shattered glass version of G1. If only I had the time to go in and recolor this scene so that they're all in their shattered glass color schemes. Oh well, I'm sure there's someone out there with a lot more time than I do. Meanwhile, the Autobots are participating in their own gay pride, Autobot Day Parade, when it is interrupted by Megatron's fake news.
It's an obvious fake. The people will never believe it.
I don't know, Optimus. Some people are gullible enough to believe everything they see.
And when we are fully trusted and the Decepticons vanquished, we'll claim the Earth for our own.
So, as expected, the humans turn on the Autobots, and they eventually take them into custody. They hold a trial for the Autobots in a football stadium? Why? They somehow fit in the mayor's office earlier. Why couldn't they fit in a courtroom? I guess they wanted the spectacle of it. Spike goes to check the tapes of the evil Autobots. And as it turns out, they were actually Decepticons in disguise. In fact, this very scene was actually homaged in Optimus Prime's latest masterpiece toy, where you can replace Optimus's own head with Starscream's and a pair of intakes, essentially transforming this Optimus Prime toy into what is now technically a Starscream toy. The trouble with this scene, though, is that Starscream was actually one of the Decepticons attacking the Autobot doppelgangers, so he can't be in two places at once. The only way around this I can think of is maybe they made another clone of Starscream, like they did back in the episode Prime Problem. And maybe one of the other Decepticons was controlling that clone? But then why wouldn't you just make another clone of Optimus Prime? Maybe they needed to scan him again. Back at the trial, they find the Autobots guilty and decide to banish them from the Earth. This is very reminiscent of that part in Dark of the Moon, where the Autobots are also forced to leave the Earth. But unlike in that movie, where the Decepticons immediately blow up their shuttle, instead, Megatron reprograms Teletran 1 so that they fly into the sun. Man, the Autobots really need to put a password lock on Teletran 1.
To be continued on tomorrow's The Transformers.
But you don't have to wait until tomorrow, or next week, because we're continuing with part 2 of Megatron's master plan right now. So, after his plan proves successful, the Decepticons have their own gay pride, Decepticon parade. I wonder why I keep messing those up.
I have my reasons, which are far beyond your meager understanding.
In the crowd, we can spot a kid wearing a Megatron costume. This makes me wonder, exactly how long has it been since they announced that there would be a Decepticon Day? Because this kid's costume is pretty spot on. I wonder how long he worked on it. Also, I want to see someone cosplay as this kid at TFCon. That would be a fun meta costume. Although, apparently Spike is still gathering video evidence of the Decepticons' lies. And Ravage is still after him. Man, the timeline of these two episodes is kind of all over the place. Meanwhile, Soundwave and his pets, Cassetticons, are having fun at a teen dance? Aww, it's kind of cute. I wish the Decepticons weren't just pretending to be good. Maybe they could actually enjoy themselves if they weren't bad guys. Back with the Autobots, they are now apparently joined by Cosmos, even though he never appeared in any previous episodes. And with their guidance system locked, they appear to be incinerated. Seriously, they don't have any kind of manual controls? Well, this ship was built by Burger, so maybe he didn't want them having manual control?
This evidence is conclusive, Spike. How could we have been so stupid?
Well, you did believe a Decepticon. So, Megatron and the Decepticons take control of the city, with plans to conquer more cities and eventually the whole world. As the Decepticons look over their enslaved humans, we can spot Astrotrain, making this his first appearance in the cartoon. Funny how the two space guys show up in the same episode, Cosmos and Astrotrain. Chip manages to escape the Decepticons and hide in a truck's trailer until he eventually reaches a pit stop, where we see what I'm guessing is a restaurant called Stan's. Now, I may be stretching here, but I wonder if this place is meant to be a nod to Stan Lee. After all, G1 was produced by Marvel Productions. And as we've seen in a previous episode, it's not unheard of to have a Marvel reference in the Transformers cartoon. Plus, many years later, Stan would have his own restaurant again in the Spider-Man video game for PlayStation 4. So I'd like to think that this was a subtle homage to the now late great Stan Lee. Also, it's kind of cool to think that Stan's restaurant is somewhere nearby the Autobots base.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference. Enough said.
Speaking of which, when Chip is checking Teletran 1, we can see that Cosmos' name is misspelled, leaving out the second O. But Chip is interrupted by Thrust, who destroys Teletran 1. But this turns out to be a big mistake, as it turns out the Autobots were not destroyed after all, thanks to Trailbreaker's force field. And after Cosmos is freed of Teletran's control, he is able to tow them back to Earth. The human military attempts to fight the Decepticons, but they fail. Although, I'm sure if this was a Michael Bay movie, this battle would have had a different outcome.
You see? Even Earth's mightiest warriors cannot stop us.
What? Were the Avengers here? Oh, that's right. They're Earth's mightiest heroes. But the Autobots finally arrive and heroically fight off the Decepticons, who are forced to retreat. The humans are freed, and the Autobots are back as the heroes we know them to be. Well, this was a pretty good two-parter. Again, it's a little odd how much the movie Dark of the Moon seems to draw inspiration from this episode. Or episodes. But it's even weirder how much Burger reminds me of a certain someone in real life. Let's just be glad that Burger never became president.
I wonder what would happen if the election were held today. Your quest for power will destroy you, Burger. Funny, it doesn't look that way from where I stand.
So be sure to let me know what you thought of this G1 two-parter down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you here next time for yet another original Transformers series two-parter, Desertion of the Dinobots. Man, there are so many multi-parters I've been reviewing lately. Well, I'll see you back here next week for that.